Hello everyone, I'm Drunvalo Mельхиседек, and I'm here today to talk about the differences between the Flower of Life and the ATIH, Awakening the Illuminated Heart. I'm getting requests from all over the world, I mean everywhere, asking that we explain this because everybody thinks that they're kind of the same thing and they don't understand. And so I'm going to try to make this as clear as I can. It is somewhat of a complicated subject, but still I'll do what I can for you to make you to understand this. And in order to do this, I have to go back in time a little bit to the beginning of the Flower of Life and to explain how that happened. If you go back to the beginning, which was about approximately 1980, the Ascended Masters of the world, which are about 8,000 people, just like you and me, except that they've gone ahead of us now, they decided that the time was right to begin to teach this kind of information to the world so that when we were ready for this, we would be prepared for this. And so the Ascended Masters got four females together, and instructed them on how to teach the Mer-Ka-Ba, the information that we're teaching right now, actually the ATIH information. And they began to teach it in exactly the same way. And this went for about 4 years, from about 1980 to roughly the middle of 1984. And when that happened, a phenomena began to take place where only women would go to the workshop and no men. I mean, literally there would be 100 women in the workshop and maybe one guy in the back of the room chewing his fingernails because he's nervous for being in there with so many females. But this continued. If it happened just once, it'd be one thing, but for 4 years, it was only females and very, very few males. The reason is because the earth has changed. We are now more male than we are female. Now, I understand that this is who we are, but we can't have just the females ascend and not the males. It just doesn't work. We have to have a balance between all of this. And the Ascended Masters, after 4 years of watching this, realized this isn't going to happen. This is just simply not going to work. And so they came to me at that point. I spent over 90 years with the Ascended Masters, and we have a relationship from the very beginning when I came here to Earth. And so they came to me and they asked me if I would teach this in a unique way that has never been taught on Earth before. And what they did is they chose to teach just the Mer-Ka-Ba. Now normally you start with the heart and you move up through certain sequences and you go to the brain, and the very, very last thing that you teach or learn is about the Mer-Ka-Ba. Well, they reversed it. And they reversed it to start teaching about the Mer-Ka-Ba first, because the Mer-Ka-Ba is geometrical, it's mathematical, it's very logical, and men are attracted to that kind of information. And the other information, when you start talking about the heart, is very subtle energy, it's female, and men just think it's not real. They don't understand it. They don't understand what it is. It's too simple. And so we did that, and we began to instruct people on the Mer-Ka-Ba first. And the first two books that I wrote, The Ancient Secret of the Flower of Life, that one was in 1998 and the other one was in 2000. Those books were only leading you to the Mer-Ka-Ba. And it did work. When I started teaching in December of 1984 this information, immediately it was about the ratio between male and female was about 60% females, 40% males. And that ratio has more or less stayed that way ever since. That ratio is fine as far as the Ascended Masters are. We're reaching in enough men to make it work. Somewhere around 2003, I began to write this book about living in the heart. And that information was needed to be combined with the Mer-Ka-Ba information. Otherwise, the information of the Mer-Ka-Ba was not enough to ascend from. The world really misunderstood me when they thought that you could just learn the Mer-Ka-Ba and ascend from that. It is not possible. There is so much more you have to know. And so in 2003, we began to integrate that into what was called the Earth Sky Heart Workshop. And the Ascended Masters, working with them, they began to give us all the knowledge and information we needed. And it still wasn't quite complete in that until finally in 2010 we were able to integrate everything together. And for the first time ever, we were then asked to reverse the way that we were teaching it before with the Mer-Ka-Ba first and bring it back into the order that it was originally on Earth. And so now the Awakening the Illuminated Heart is the original way, starting with the heart and moving slowly into all the other levels, with the very last thing being the Mer-Ka-Ba. And so there is a huge difference. It is the same components in some of this information. It looks very similar. But in the Flower of Life information, you had to manually go through all the mudras and all the various things. It took 2 years for the Mer-Ka-Ba to even become permanent. And still you didn't have all the information that was necessary. And so for the first time ever now you can go to an Awakening Illuminated Heart and you can learn everything you need to know all at once, right down to the very last information that you need to know, which is exactly how to make that last step into the fourth dimension of the earth. And so there's a huge difference, and I hope this information helps you understand that we've been through a progression here, that we had to go with the flow. I mean, the earth wasn't responding in the proper way, and so we had to find a way to make it work. And it's taken years, but we are now there. And but please understand, you cannot ascend from the information that's from the Flower of Life. It is not complete. They don't have it. And at this point, it's illegal even to teach that information anymore, because that's been all the licensing for that around the world has been stopped as of I think it was February 18th or 19th of 2013. No one should be teaching that information anywhere, and anyone that is teaching that information is not helping the people. You need to go to this information now. So I really hope that helps you. I know that it's been a struggle to understand me because I've been changing things so many times in so many places, but I'm just following what the Ascended Masters are asking me to do. But at this moment, it's clean, it's clear, it's beautiful. So I hope this helps you. I love you guys. Thank you.